Level 1. The blank channel. You create the channel on a Sunday night, and the hardest part, the part that takes 45 minutes when it should take 4, is the name. The name matters because the name cannot have your face in it. That is the specific premise of what you are building, a channel that generates income without anyone knowing it belongs to you. No face in the thumbnail, no voice people can connect to a person, no personal brand, no parasocial relationship built on someone liking you specifically. Just content and the algorithm and whatever gap in the market you are about to fill. You have watched 7 YouTube videos about faceless channels in the last 2 weeks. The videos used words like passive income and digital asset and cash cow with the confidence of people who have already built the thing they are explaining, and the specific retrospective ease of someone describing a climb from the summit. You wrote down the niche options: personal finance, history documentaries, true crime, luxury lifestyle, tech reviews, meditation, motivational content. You picked history. History is evergreen. History is not going anywhere. Nobody invented new history last Tuesday. This is the reasoning, and you stand behind it. The production stack for the first video costs you 4 hours and $114. Epidemic Sound subscription for royalty-free music, $15 a month. Storyblock subscription for stock footage, $16 a month. 11 Labs for the AI voiceover, because your actual voice on a recording sounds like a person who has never heard their own voice before, $22 a month. CapCut for editing, the free version, because you have already spent $61 and the channel has 0 subscribers and 0 videos and 0 views, and this is not a moment for premium editing software. The remaining costs are the script, which you write yourself in a Google Doc, and the thumbnail, which you design in Canva, also free, using a template you found by searching YouTube Thumbnail Template History Channel on Pinterest. The first video is 10 minutes and 43 seconds long. It covers the fall of the Roman Empire, which you selected because it is one of the most searched history topics on the platform, and because TubeBuddy, which you are also using on its free tier, showed you the keyword has high search volume and medium competition. These 2 numbers are what Faceless YouTube runs on. You understand this intellectually and do not yet understand it in practice, which is the gap that the next several months will close. You upload the video at 11 p.m. and you sit at the desk and you watch the analytics page refresh. The analytics page shows you exactly what you expected and somehow exactly what you didn't. 0 views. The 0 is not a surprise. It is somehow still a surprise. You close the laptop. You open it again at 11:47 p.m. to check the analytics. Still 0. You are going to need more videos. Level 2. The grind. You understand the algorithm now in the way that someone understands a language they are not yet fluent in. You can read it slowly and carefully and arrive at the correct interpretation if you have enough time, which the algorithm does not always give you. The rule you have internalized above all others is this: click-through rate multiplied by average view duration is the complete formula for whether YouTube promotes your video or buries it. CTR is the percentage of people who see your thumbnail and title and click. Average view duration is how long they stay once they do. YouTube wants both numbers high because high CTR means the thumbnail and title are compelling, and high average view duration means the content delivered with the thumbnail and title promised. And the algorithm cares about the promise being kept because the algorithm is, at its base level, a system for keeping people on YouTube. So you study thumbnails for an hour before you make one. You look at every competing video on your topic and you identify what color appears least in their thumbnails, and you use that color because contrast in a row of similar thumbnails is the visual interruption that produces the click. You write 20 potential video titles before you commit to one. You run the title through vidIQ's keyword tool and you find the search volume and the competition score, and you adjust the title until the keyword balance produces a number that suggests your video has a realistic chance of appearing in search results for someone looking for this specific topic. Your script is now written in a specific structure: hook in the first 30 seconds, and open loop, a question or a fact that feels impossible until you explain it. Because 30 seconds is the threshold where YouTube measures initial retention, and a drop at 30 tells the algorithm the video failed the entrance exam. You are posting 3 videos a week. This is not sustainable, and you know it, and you are doing it anyway because the data from the Faceless channels you have studied suggests that 60 to 80 uploads is the range in which the algorithm accumulates enough information about your channel to make a pattern-based recommendation decision, which is the decision that produces growth. You need the algorithm to understand what your channel is. The algorithm learns from volume. Volume requires 3 videos a week. Month 3, 412 subscribers, 11,000 total views. Average view duration across all videos, 6 minutes and 2 seconds on a 10-minute average video length. CTR, 4.7%, which is above the platform average of 2 to 5% for established channels and is the one number in your analytics that makes you feel like you might be building something real. Your RPM, revenue per 1,000 views, is something you can't see yet because you are not monetized. You have 11,000 views across all videos and $0 because the threshold for YouTube's partner program is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of total watch time, and you have 412 of the first thing, and you are doing the math on the second thing every other day. You need 588 more subscribers. You post 4 videos the following week. Level 3, the milestone. The monetization notification arrives on a Wednesday at 2:17 in the afternoon, and the subject line says, "Your channel is now eligible for the YouTube Partner Program." And you read it in a kitchen where you are eating lunch and you put the fork down. You had 1,014 subscribers at the time of the notification. You had 4,206 total watch hours. You met the threshold on a Tuesday, and YouTube reviewed the application over 8 days, during which you checked the application status 19 times, and then it was approved, and now you have a partner dashboard and an AdSense account linked to a real bank account and a monetization status that says "on" for all videos. And you go back to eating lunch, and the lunch tastes different than it did before you checked the email, which is irrational and completely real. Your first full monetized month produces $63.40. This number is both a beginning and a specific education. The education is in the RPM, which the partner dashboard now shows you for the first time. Your history channel is running a $6.20 RPM, which means you earn $6.20 for every 1,000 views your videos receive. $63 divided by a month's worth of production time, which across scripting and editing and research and SEO optimization and thumbnail design amounts to somewhere between 60 and 80 hours, produces an effective hourly rate that you choose not to calculate because some calculations are useful and some are not, and this one is not useful right now. What is useful is the RPM comparison. A finance channel at this same view count would be earning between $15 and $50 per 1,000 views, a tech channel 8 to 15. Your history channel at $6.20 is in the middle of the niche RPM range, which tells you that you either stay in history and grow the view count to make the math work, or you start a second channel in a higher RPM niche once the systems on this one are stable enough to run without your full attention. You file this under the decisions to be made later. Month 2 of monetization, $119. Month 3, $207. Month 4 produces a spike, $391, because one video about a specific historical conspiracy breaks through, gets recommended by the algorithm to viewers who weren't looking for your channel, accumulates 40,000 views in 3 weeks, and demonstrates the first real principle of faceless YouTube that nobody in the tutorial videos adequately communicated. This model is not linear, it is punctuated. Long periods of flat growth interrupted by single videos that change the slope of everything. And the only way to be ready for the breakout video is to already have the other videos that give the algorithm a library to pull from once the breakout creates a new viewer who wants more. You now have 4,600 subscribers. The breakout video subscriber conversion is running at roughly 4%, meaning 4 out of every 100 new viewers from that video subscribed. This is low by the standards of personality channels where the person is the reason to subscribe. It is typical for faceless channels where the content category is the reason to subscribe. And 4% of 40,000 is 1,600 new subscribers in 3 weeks. You look at the analytics dashboard at midnight and you are not tired.
Level 4. The system. The system begins the month you hire your first editor and realize you should have done it 6 months ago. You have been editing every video yourself for 11 months. The editing for a 10-minute video takes between 3 and 5 hours, depending on the complexity of the B-roll cuts, the pacing of the narration sync, and how many times the stock footage site has the exact visual you need for the specific sentence you are trying to illustrate. In 11 months of 3 videos per week output, you have spent somewhere between 500 and 700 hours editing, which is time that was not spent on scripting, which is the skill that actually determines whether a video performs, which is the specific allocation error you correct the month you hire Daniel from Upwork at $12 an hour for a work output that takes him 2.5 hours per video. Daniel's first 3 edits come back wrong in specific ways that tell you his eye for pacing is not yet calibrated to your channel's rhythm, which you have developed 11 months of opinions about. You send notes, detailed notes, time-stamped, specific. Daniel's 4th edit comes back at 90% of where you want it. His 7th comes back at the level you would have produced yourself, which is the moment the system becomes real, because you are now producing the same output with your own time spent only on the script and the thumbnail, which together take 3 to 4 hours instead of 8 to 10. The freed time goes into a second channel. The second channel is finance. Finance RPM runs between $15 and $50 per 1,000 views, which against your history channel's $6.20 is a different economic conversation entirely. A finance channel at 50,000 monthly views earns between $750 and $2,500 per month. Your history channel at 50,000 monthly views earns $310. The math for running both simultaneously, now that you have an editor, is not complicated. You hire a scriptwriter for the finance channel. $40 per script, 1 script per video. The writer briefed on the keyword research you provide and the structure you have built into a template document that specifies the hook format, the retention pacing, the specific open loop technique at each act break. The writer's first 4 scripts need significant revision. Their 5th script needs almost none. You now have a production pipeline. Keyword research takes 45 minutes, the brief goes to the writer, the script comes back in 48 hours, it goes to an 11 Labs voice template you have created specifically for the finance channel, the audio file goes to a second editor you have hired for the finance channel, the edited video comes back, you review it for 20 minutes, it uploads. Your total active time per video across both channels is now 90 minutes. Month 14 combined channel revenue, $2,140. Month 15, $2,900. Month 16, which is Q4 and advertisers are dumping their annual budgets before year-end, produces $4,830. You screenshot the monthly summary. You look at it for a while. You send your editor a bonus and you don't tell him what it's for, and he thanks you and asks if you need anything. You say, I think we start a 3rd channel in January. Level 5. The machine. 3 channels, 11 videos per week, 1 editor per channel, 2 scriptwriters shared across 2 channels, 1 thumbnail designer handling all 3, a voiceover artist on retainer for the channels that have moved away from AI voice because the finance channel's audience, based on comment analysis, responded better to a human voice that carries a specific authority quality that 11 Labs in 2024 could approximate, but that your audience's comments consistently described as almost right, which is a phrase that means not right, and that you addressed by hiring Marcus, who charges $35 per voiceover and whose voice your finance audience describes in comments as trustworthy,
which is the only word that matters in a high RPM finance channel where trustworthy is what advertisers are paying premium CPMs to be adjacent to. Your total monthly revenue across 3 channels last quarter averaged $11,200. This is after YouTube's 45% cut of ad revenue. This is before your production costs, which run between $2,000 and $3,000 per month. Net operating income between $8,000 and $9,000 per month from a system that requires between 15 and 20 hours of your personal time per week, most of which is keyword research, analytics review, and the specific project management of keeping 6 freelancers producing content on a synchronized schedule that guarantees 3 channels each produce their weekly video count without gaps, because gaps are what the algorithm interprets as channel abandonment, and channel abandonment produces recommendation weight decay, which is the specific slow death of a faceless channel that cannot run on personality-driven subscriber loyalty and can only run on consistent algorithmic presence. Your channels have a combined subscriber count of 214,000. Not one of those 214,000 people knows your name. Not one of them has seen your face. The History Channel's top comment on its most viewed video says, "This channel explains everything so clearly, I genuinely don't know why it doesn't have more subscribers." And the person who wrote that comment does not know they are complimenting a system you built, a writer you briefed, an editor you trained, a voice AI you tuned, and a thumbnail designed by someone in a different country who has never seen the videos he makes covers for.
You've been approached twice about selling channels. Channel sales in this space run at approximately 30 to 40 times monthly revenue. Your finance channel, currently netting $3,000 per month after production costs, has received an offer of $114,000 from an aggregator who buys faceless channels, runs them through a larger production operation, and sells them again at scale. You have not accepted. You filed the offer in a folder, and you look at the folder occasionally to remind yourself what the asset is worth if you decide the system is something you want to sell, rather than something you want to keep running. The question that arrives at level 5, the one that none of the tutorial videos covered and that the Summit Perspective Explainer content never addressed because it is not the kind of question that produces good thumbnails, is a simpler one than you expected. You have built something that works. You have built something that earns real money. You have built something that belongs entirely to you and that nobody outside your Upwork account can fully see or account for. And the question is whether building something that works is the same as building something you want, whether the machine produces the life you were building the machine to produce, whether the passive and passive income describes the income or describes something that happened to you while you were building it. You open the keyword research tool. You start the brief for the 3rd channel's next 8 videos. The machine runs whether or not you answer the question. That is both the point and the problem.